All right. Sorry about that. Hello, hello. Hello.
Greetings.
Greetings. So a funny thing happened. Just before we went live, I spilled a little bit of tea on my mouse, and that caused it to go absolutely berserk. It went haywire and was like locking up stuff, weird stuff. But hey, swapping mice worked just fine, so we are back at it. Yeah, and to do a really quick once over of what we are doing and where we're all at. There are 8 sets of best of 3 that have been played and are ready to cast. So me and stoicrooster here are going to be going through half of them. We're going to be starting at the top of the list and working our way down. So the matches we have in specific we've got today, we've got Copiate versus Modius, Wirox versus Juiceboxy, Fun Interactive versus AWX Angel, and Denoobs versus Fuzzy Moth. So we got some new players and some old school players, and an interesting rivalry actually for our second match, which we'll get into for sure.
Oh yeah, I've seen something about that, but I never really understood what it was about.
Yeah, maybe we'll learn more about that as we go on. But for starters, we're gonna start with my boy Modius. We've played a lot of 1v1s, and I convinced him to join the tournament with one of his standard Vanner builds that he's been cooking up. He loves running with a lot of Sentinels, so we got all 9 represented here. Plus, we got the Shimzar plus EMP combo for some nastiness. And Modius,
because he's got the T-horn into the battle pet combo there.
yeah, that he sent me a screenshot of what he did to a Lilith player with that. It's pretty cool. And on the other side, Copiate has kind of the menace from prior tournaments where Brome has been really strong, and we've got pretty spell heavy, but notably we got Donzai and some Artifice going on. So it's also got the red Sinja, which is a 7/7 that just hits for 7 whenever your general takes damage.
Yeah, this deck seems like it's taken a lot of inspiration from Alpha Sentry's kind of control Brome. He's running Flame Bloods and so on, and Lucent Beams. So there's both control and burn in this list.
Yeah, and of course you can phase out whichever half of your deck isn't as strong against the opponent. Like the Scintillo is really good against the Songhai list where there's a lot of burn, but the Silence is going to be really good against a lot of the other fields. And there's a couple funny things with this kind of format. There is the 1 Decimate that's in this list. That doesn't necessarily mean it's in the deck ever, but you have to play around it all the same. So that'll just kill all units that are not near a general. So it's kind of tricky. And likewise for Modius, you got to play around all the Sentinels, even though in this format you only have to run 1 of them, and then they have to assume it's all of them.
Yeah, Drake Dowager is perhaps the lesser played of the 3. It typically only sees play in Oakenheart. No, not Oakenheart.
Mimiton. Yeah, because you get a token off
Oaken
of
and
it.
Mimiton.
Yeah.
So, and you don't have to run all 3 as you said, but the mere prospect of each of them makes it difficult to play around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to bring up my list of games that we're going to be jumping into. We've got possibly 3 per series. I've put in filler replays for a series that went to 2, just so we don't spoil ourselves immediately. And I'll share these replays after the cast is done. And then tomorrow we'll be doing round 2, or part 2 of round 1. Although it'll be Poncho Mango on the horn instead of Stoic. Thanks again for jumping on to help cast these.
No, that's no problem.
Cool. Without further ado, are you ready to jump into game number 1? Which would be the leftmost, and we'll go left to right on these. Alright. Cool. Let's jump into Copiate versus Modius in 3, 2, 1. Paste. Okay, we are here, and it is time. I'm going to boot up this web captioner, so I have some funny Coco commentary going on at the bottom of the screen. It's mostly correct. It knows some words really well, like pulchritudinous. It'll never get that wrong, but something... It even knows some units, like klaxon, scintilla, etc. And then you say, Shiro puppy dog, and then it says, did you say Cheryl? So that's
Yeah,
what's
it gets
fun.
on most things right, but then it just makes these like comical errors almost.
Yeah, but it's extra content. So we've got the classic Brome start. You just take 2 steps forward and you pass. Almost every other deck is going to consider that a disastrous start, but that is some bread and butter here. He could have dropped a BTA, but doesn't really need to.
Yeah, I don't think Modius is playing Hailstone Prison. So if Modius was playing Hailstone Prison, which would return a creature to your hand, there was an argument for playing the Blood Tier just to make sure that you wouldn't just discard the card if it was returned.
Yeah, to guarantee a 4th mana would get you the Sunbreaker, which is pretty nice. We have a Sentinel on the ground. I think this one was the Free Blade. So it'll gain slightly more stats if it's not taken care of first. Martyrdom is a really good answer to Sentinel, because even if it's the one that procs off of a spell, it'll still die to it.
So he has a 50-50 here with the spell or the Blood Tier. Let's see which one he picks.
It's kind of a choice I feel like you should have done before you went in for the attack.
I think Copiate suspected it to be the
Drake.
Drake Downer.
Because usually the place to put a Drake is kind of you fade it away, but this could have been the reverse mind games, and then if it was a Drake, then you'd be in trouble.
Yeah, he decides not to gamble here.
Okay, he doesn't have to, so that's smart. Thunderhorn at the bottom, pretty threatening minion. And it might be the thing that gets the Martyrdom.
I think you absolutely try to look for the Destimate here. I think the replace there was the Sunbreaker. I definitely think that's going to be way too slow here.
Yeah. Manages to clear the Sentinel without engaging in guessing games. But he's got 4 mana. He can't walk to the mana tile now, so might as well just kill the nasty minion while he can.
Yeah, I still think you should replace here. I'm not sure if he debated whether he was going to hold his BBS for Scintilla next turn. But denying him of 6 mana may be relevant, since that is Dragar Iolith.
Yep.
Modius could play the Sister here, and then BBS and kill both.
Instead opting to go for just the Bloodbound Mentor. And then yeah, if we see the Hearth Sister into the BBS, that'd be really nice. Nope. And then has an extra one in the pocket.
Yeah, also chooses not to trade there. I'm not sure if that was him timing out, but I think you should trade here. Brome definitely has a stronger late game, and you need to...
Yeah, I feel that. Because Brome can just recover up to full health like nothing. And if you've got him half dead, you really need to push it. Otherwise, the game's just going to slip away from you.
Yeah, still doesn't choose to replace this Sunbreaker. I'm not sure what kind of board he's holding on to that for.
Yeah, like, you'd hold on to a Sunbreaker versus a Fae if you're expecting Fae to drop some walls or something, but that... You can see that's not coming, just from the deck lists.
There he went ahead and did the right thing, placed it.
Yep. Got the pony.
Polarity is interesting for Modius to keep in the deck. I
Yeah,
figure
because that's like
wow.
tech against buildings. Or maybe some specific like Ironcliff Guardian kinds of minions.
Maybe he went with the main deck. Maybe he was intending to sideboard game two.
Mm, yeah, Polarity makes a lot of sense if you're running the Owl for the gigantic health swap into the Owl Punch. But I'm not seeing any toughness bumps. I guess the Azure Herald could technically hit for 3 harder, but then it loses all its health, so it's not really that good.
So, do you remember what Sentinelis was? Oh, it was the Moonlit. It was revealed.
Yep.
I do think you pony that. I think you probably can part ways with the Tempest.
Sunset Paragon seems like a pretty clear answer to this Basilisk. Boom.
Yeah, I think you definitely should have moved too forward there to taken center tile. Um, I think Copiate also needs to pick up the pace.
Yeah, it looks like Copiate's trying to fade for his late game options, because he's got 2 EMPs, the 1 Red Sinja for top end, and the 1 copy of Blue Conjurer that gives him all his value, but he's not able to find it so far.
Yeah, he hasn't found any of his draw. So right now he's just getting burned down by Fae.
Yeah, he might be able to flip the tables once he starts drawing Trinity Oaths. The artillery is on him, though. Modius has got him dead in a couple turns.
I think you pitch the Tempest here, see what you can get.
Yeah, does more harm than good now. Finds a claim. He's going to be happy with Scintilla BBS as a turn, though. That's still pretty solid.
Yeah, and I think you let the pony deal with the crypto so you don't take additional damage. Modius also doesn't play Fissure, so you can safely...
Oh yeah, go in the middle. Yeah, that's a good observation. If Vanar players were just sneaking in 1 copy of Fissure in their decks, that would make people think twice of where they step.
Yeah, that's absolutely a good option to do that. Just play some mind games.
Yeah, because even on the ladder, sometimes you have to suspect that they're running it if they show a Mesmerize or some Spell Likers.
Yeah. Here we also see Copiate playing into Iceblade Binder by placing all things in the same...
In one, yep.
Yeah, even though it was available.
And there's definitely 3 Ice Blades in Modius's list that could potentially be around. We haven't seen them yet. Thunderhorn's here to break up any formation. There's no movement options for Thunderhorn, so Faye's kind of reliant on the enemy coming to it with the aspect of Shimzar transformation. Which could be a giant blowout turn down the line, because Brom typically has his units in tight formation with these Crestfallens and such. But we can actually see this placement of his units. He's separating as much as he can.
Yeah, but it still needs to push forward here. If I were Copiate here, I probably would have BBS'd with my Crestfall and then to play Sunbreaker. Because
right. Because the other option is this. You blast your own stuff.
I don't really see the benefits of this Tempest here.
I think it's so he can kill the Thunderhorn with 1 more Tempest later. I guess that's what he's planning.
Either way, I think you move 1 forward here.
Okay. Well, Brom is just going to chill in place, I guess.
That's also, I'm not sure if Modius really benefits from that because Tempest will burn the Braum player as much as it burns him.
Yeah, and the Scintilla is silenced, so there's no more healing.
So
But
I think
now
I
this is like, it's only going to be upside for his BBS, which is going to be 1-2 provokes all day. I don't like this Azure Herald placement, not blocking the Thunderhorn. I feel like it should be placed down and left of Thunderhorn to prevent it from just being cleaned up with a slash. But we'll see if that matters.
That's a fair point. You want to preserve the Thunderhorn because it makes positioning awkward for Copiate here.
This keeps the Hearth Sister from trading with the Fox, but you'd want to make that trade. And Sundrop Elixir, super effective. It's basically healing Estus.
Yeah, Copiate decides not to kill the Thunderhorn, which I think I would have done.
Yeah, me too.
Move 2 up, kill it, and then heal yourself, DBS.
Instead, Copiate's just going to fade on the bottom side.
So maybe Copiate's thinking here on whether it's going to BBS, because if you BBS, then the Horn gets to trade into a 1-2, it stays alive, but he decides to take that risk.
Yep. One really... Oh, this is a free blade. One really good thing to note, or important detail, is Modius does not have a hand. 0 cards, not action bar versus 6. This is kind of the problem with Braum late game, where Braum just has infinite durability, it feels like. His endurance just doesn't give out, and then they just grind out another player's deck. So to not be running... Well, there's 2 Spelljammers in Modius's list, but not being able to find them has been pretty unfortunate. Well, I say that, and then one appears.
Yeah, that's why a card like Hellgin Prism can be good, because it can be also used to bounce your own creatures. So you can bounce your own Cryptographer, you can bounce your own Lore Master or Herald.
Yeah. Or if they have a full grip, then it turns into a kill spell.
Yeah. Copiate decides to gamble here, saying that's not a Dowager.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have preferred to use a Circle of Life on that, because you're down in life now.
And Circle of Life would have taken care of it if it was a Basilisk anyway.
Well, he knew it wasn't a Basilisk, because
he hit it with a Tempest. Yeah. Which was even more baffling, because if it was a Basilisk, you're not doing... He just went for the 1-3 read and got it. Maybe he's calling Modius's bluff in that there aren't any actual Drake Dowagers in this list, and they're just here for show, so it makes the guessing game a little easier.
I do think Drake Dowager would be good in this matchup, so I would definitely slot them in here.
Yeah, because Braum heals himself so much, he's in there taking face damage. Especially when we've got Arcalite Regalias and such.
I think I probably would have preferred having Dowagers here over T-Horns.
He's playing around T-Horns pretty well. Although the only transformation spell he seems interested in casting is 3/3 Ravagers, which is... I guess it is a slight downgrade to Scintilla here, but it's still a respectable unit. Copiate's very confused by this outcome. Oh, I think this was because this Draugr was the wrong Draugr I had in Modius's list initially. Because he sent me a screenshot of his deck, and then I'm like, where's the text list? And then he didn't send me that, so I just rebuilt it. And I got this unit wrong, so I had to like actually edit his list to swap in the right Draugr. So that's probably what Copiate's so confused about here. That he was expecting the 4/8 that turns into a 4/8 on death.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But now his movement is slow.
In Team Wars, we were playing, and in the last Team Wars, you were allowed to ban 4 cards for the opposing team each week. So you could ban like Mechantors, and we had banned Mecantor for the opposing team, and then they played a Mecantor against us.
That's illegal.
Yeah. So we just went in chat, hey, weren't that card illegal? And then they just conceded, and we won the game.
That's too bad.
Oops, there he says. He played into Warbird.
Yep. This top crestfallen is just gone.
But at this point, Modius is really struggling to get going once again.
Yeah, the Spelljammer is really nice to have, but he wanted to have this out a little earlier. He draws his artillery package, which is nice to see, but it might already be too late because Brom has healed himself so much at this point. And although you've done 25 damage to the general, they ain't dead. But it's like too good of a package to replace, right?
Yeah, no, you never replace this.
Yeah, you gotta get blasting.
He decides to play his duplicate Warbirds. I think I would have refrained from it for replay for a place spawner.
Yeah, I don't know if there were no replaces in that turn. Because one Warbird's a nice card, but the spell you get generated is only good for the 2 damage, so you can generally get a better quality card. I guess one consideration is if you wanted to play every bit of mana and go as fast as possible, but you could probably replace something set up for really good next turn, because now this Cryptographer in hand, I mean, it keeps the combo going, but it's kind of tiny, and you'd rather you had it last turn.
Yeah, you would have had 3 cards in hand if you wouldn't have played them, so now your entire board is destroyed.
Oof.
And you're going to have to restart once more.
And you can't build up too good of a board, because Copia's just holding on to these 2 Apyrion's claim, which will take care of anything. Replaces and finds a gigantic creature, so this is a decent find.
Yeah, he decides not to trade into the Crestfallen. I'm wondering if he timed out there.
Yeah, that it's worth to get these things off the table because Lion are full of buffs. This deck in particular could have buffed it with, well, I guess nothing, to be fair. But just getting rid of the troop count is good because they're wholly MO targets at the end of the day and such.
One thing we haven't seen from Copiat this game is the Arclight Regalius.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he slotted them out.
Must have taken them out, because if you do any damage, chip damage with Fae, then all of your BBS hits are just going to cut through it. And he probably saw the Cryptos and saw the Bloodbound Mentors and then just didn't include them. Donzai isn't probably here either.
No, I definitely would have included at least a Regalius in this deck.
It does block against the first one, so it's quite good.
Yeah. I also would have replaced maybe the Martyrdom, because I think you need to find some more proactive cards.
Interesting choice. Well, I guess that was the replace. Finds the one Concealing Shroud, so it has 1 turn of invincibility. It's kind of hard to notice, but if you mouse over the general, it at least tells you that.
Yeah, this is a good turn to play EMP, I think.
Yeah, that turns off the invincibility. Interesting putting a Zeal minion before doing EMP, though. Because you'd want to... Yeah. Guess it's not going to be an EMP turn.
EMP, I definitely would have done that here.
Yeah, because having a 7/7 beater would have really pushed it. Modius deciding a Moonlight Basilisk is better than anything random. But the game really seemed like the biggest misplay was throwing away those generated spells. Because even if you replace it, you'll draw it later, possibly, but it's still worth it.
Yeah,
oh, no.
I think...
Maybe...
I think they held on to him. And they received the Regalia.
Yep, so we actually got one of those.
Yet again, decides to leave the Crestfallen up.
I don't know what the thinking is there. You generally should simplify the board as much as possible. It's one of the best strategies to generally do it. Makes it like easier for decision making, but also kind of cuts down their options. Makes it easier for them to do like a full surround now or something ruder. Like if it was not a provoke minion, you could just walk away. That makes sense. But if you're losing your turn anyway, you might as well lose the hit point.
Yeah, I'm wondering here if Modius should just call this quits. I don't think that
Yeah, there's not going to be any top decks that save him out of this, I don't think.
Because what is also happening here is a Brome standing on the heal tile.
Yeah.
So he heals 1 point every turn.
Nasty.
On top of the 2 damage protection from Regalia.
We got multiple Regalias at this point, so it is over. Definitely no fear of the BBS chip damage. Or EMP just eating all of it at once. EMP is a pretty good draw here. Ooh, Copiate, though, has this red Sinja, though, which is an EMP eater.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a lethal here to be had. I'm thinking if Holy Immolation is going to be sufficient. But I don't think it quite gets there. Oh, maybe with Tempest. So I would have replaced for Holy Immolation here.
Get 4 from that, 2 from the Tempest, come down with the General, get a hit. Instead, opting for the red Sinja's maneuver. Where it can just...
the Immolation to replace, so it would have had a game there.
Ooh, yeah, good observation there. He could have done it. Passed his turn without doing a replace until the end.
Yeah, but it matters little for EMP comes down and he just smacks him for game.
Yeah. Wasn't able to cheese it out with turn invincibility. And game 1 goes to Copiate.
So if I were Modius here, I think I would remove
that spell.
The Polarity.
Yeah.
I would also remove the Aspect cards, and I would focus a lot more on the minion package.
Yeah, we can see how he mixed up his deck for game number 2. Because it is possible to swap any cards between the games. In case you discover that a certain spell you've got doesn't do anything. And transformation spells were all really middling too. At least the aspect of Ravager didn't seem to be doing a whole lot. It took a couple scintillas off the table. But yeah, are you ready to go into game number 2?
I am.
Cool. All right, let's go into game number 2 in 3, 2, 1. Wait a sec. I clicked on the wrong thing.
Right. I think that's fine.
Okay, hope we didn't launch into the game when we were flying into it. Alright, ready for another countdown?
Yes.
Okay, let's go in 3, 2, 1, paste. Yes, indeed. We are here with Copiate versus Modius, game number 2 on their best of 3 in the GG Open number 3.
So we see 3 or 4 removal spells already in Modius' hand.
Yeah, we didn't see these Frostburns earlier. Maybe they were ported in, or maybe he just wasn't lucky in finding them earlier. But those are going to be nice to find later in the matchup once he needs to deal with the board. And on the other side, we see pretty similar stuff to what Copiate had already played. I didn't think he cast any Lasting Judgments last game, but it's a really good opener. It'll take out like a 2-drop minion pretty reliably. Unfortunately, Modius does not have a 2-drop minion, so he's going to want to replace this aspect of the Ravager or something to find...
A Frostburn.
Yeah, if you can find a Crypto or something, that'd be really nice for him.
But Copiate has a lot easier turn 2, where he can go Scintilla, probably.
Yep.
Modius doesn't find a play. Yet again, I would have swapped out the Sunbreaker in this matchup, possibly.
Yeah, it doesn't have a whole lot of targets. Like, there's not a Circulus army that you need to cut down. It's mostly gigantic targets.
Yeah, because you're already probably mainboarding 3 Tempest. I don't think you need the additional Tempest source.
Right. Maybe just valuing having a force field minion a lot.
One potential good sideboard card in that case would be Night Watcher, which
Yeah.
shuts off rush minions. So that could be good against Bolt, for example.
There are some rush strategies in this. So that would be able to just hose them.
Yeah, and that's why I decided to bring Night Watchers in my sideboard.
Nice. I usually see Night Watchers with a Kaleo stack so they can like relocate them. But they're fine anywhere. As long as you're not running too much rush yourself.
So now Copiate has a decision to make. He could equip the Regalia, which would guarantee kill the Watchful Sentinel.
Yep.
He could also play Lasting Judgment, which would have a... Which, if it isn't... You spell 1?
Yeah, he'd have the 2 and 3 chance to kill it. It's a free blade, so he would kill it. If he tries to drop the Alchemist, though, then he loses the guessing game. He could Alchemist and Regalia, but at that rate, you might as well just Regalia and hit it. Give up the middle tile. Unless you want to spoil the middle tile. Okay, interesting. Suits up and then fades. And it's only 1 step down, so he can't even walk towards the bottom mana tile next turn. Didn't want to fade that much.
He at least gets some breathing room right now. He can play T-Horn, backline it, which I think I would have made if I were copied here, or if I were Modius.
Yeah. Maybe 2 steps down as Modius is a good thing to do with his general, because that sets him up to take the bottom mana. Okay, fading away with a Sentinel, just so he can swap an enemy to the back once it does proc.
I also disagree with him transforming the Scintilla, because Copious with full health, he's not going to benefit from the health gain.
Yeah, this was a really low. He gave it -0, -1.
Yeah, so I think this turn I would have preferred is playing the T-Horn.
Yeah, because there's already the Hearth Sister in the hand to possibly set up some sort of board for T-Horn. One possibility Modius has got is turn over turn invincibility with these Concealing Shrouds if he's got the Alcuin Lore Masters in his deck. He's got them in his list, but we haven't seen them so far. But it's usually a card you see with the Shroud.
Yeah, you can definitely also run other kinds of combinations with it. Because it allows...
Yeah, usually artifacts and stuff.
For example.
There's a Sunbreaker switcheroo. He's fine with that since this is a tough minion. Sunbreaker is a much better thing to turn into a 3/3.
Yeah, and uses the Blood Tear on the Sentinel, which keeps the Ravager alive.
Yeah. Ravager's pretty useful.
So right now you don't have an easy turn of your mods. Decides to pitch the T-Horn, which I don't care for.
Yeah, that could have tangled.
Hope it would not have been able to deal with the backline. T-Horn.
Yeah, the one option he's got now is Tempest to hit it twice. But now, at 5 mana, Modius will be happy to have an EMP, but not now. I guess he's gotta fade away and go into artillery mode.
Well, there's not much gain in that,
Yeah.
considering the Regalia still up.
Yeah, and he can't hit twice unless he actually goes in deep, which Doesn't seem good. He could potentially Concealing Shroud and BBS. Okay, we're gonna see Concealing Shroud BBS. Takes the Regalia from 2 to 1 pips.
I'm surprised that Copiate hasn't sideboarded Sunbloom in this deck.
Yeah, to turn off this invincibility enthusiasm. Because now he has to just pass a turn. Unless he wants to EMP, which seems like a pretty rude option and pretty strong. Might as well do that. It's gonna.
I also spotted a typo here. If you hover over Fae, it says takes no damage until 2 else.
Takes no damage until owner's next turn. Until you see something, some wrong text for under Fae.
Isn't until spelled with only 1 L?
Yeah, there's a lot of typos. You'll see a lot of text boxes end in 2 dots, or some other suspects. Like any of the balance changes, will have 2 L's in there in a row. But hey, he's that could be some feedback we give him. There's a lot of cards to do a pass on though, so it's kind of a gigantic thing. But he's now more in the mode of doing cool UI fixes and cleanup. I've been trying to get Hellgin to get a 1-click challenge for friends instead of having to type their name out every time. That'd be really nice. So interesting here, Brome not opting to go for anything. He just passes with 6 mana and moves his units around. Playing around the invincibility as much as he can and not opting to just immediately crack it with the EMP. Possibly looking to get some Regalia value.
I think you replace the Herald here if you are Modius. You're at full health.
Yep. That's a good replace. Does exactly that. Finds Aspect of Shumzar.
Right, so then you do not play Thunderhorn this turn?
Yeah, because the 7 mana turns plus are going to be just so great. Copiate is absolutely playing around that combo though with this formation, so it's not going to be easy.
No, I think at this point you just back off and you play double BBS.
Yeah. Gets rid of the Regalia. Getting this Bloodbound Mentor to stick is really nice. The only downside is the BBS is not recharging next turn, so won't be able to do turn over turn spam.
No, but ideally you're going to do.
Instead, we have 3 damage to all enemy minions. He must have misread that, thinking it was 3 damage to all enemies, because that would have been really good to take out the Regalia there. But as is, he kills 2 inconsequential minions and scratches the force field, which just comes back. So that was not as strong a turn as Fade Away and then 2 BBSs. Might have been looking to get something more out of that.
Yeah, well, if there's any kind of consolation, Copiate cannot clean off. Or, well, he could Tempest here, but that makes it so he can't trade, unless he goes Tempest into another Regalia.
Yeah, here it is. Tempest into throw your Regalia into the garbage. Surely he'd keep it, so he's probably going to look to do anything.
With the other Regalia, you get a new round.
Yeah, that's true. Another 2 damage resistance. Or I guess it's not 2 damage as so much as it is like a damage instance up to 2, so you can cheese it with 1 damage. Whereas in Duelyst 2, you actually specifically need to do the extra damage. You can't just ping it for 1. Two Regalias, pretty menacing. Modius is going to be happy to have an EMP in hand, which just cleans all that up.
Yeah, and
pretty fast turn.
Doesn't have a good way to deal with it right now, as he does not have a Martyrdom or a Fling. He can, however, BTA Immo for 5 and hit for 7.
Yeah, dealing with this EMP is probably going to be what he wants to do here. Because if he drops his own EMP, it might just immediately turn into a pet and betray him.
Yeah, and I think if you're Copiate, you want to retain the EMP for breaking off the concealing shroud.
Yeah. I can give you a surprise turn where you just win.
He does not do that.
Okay. EMPs fight and EMPs die. It's just gonna be big robot wars. This looks like a good target for, yep, the combo. Rex is not a really bad one to get because it turns into an egg. But the one bad pet it could be is the Oni that's force fielded, and then it doesn't even proc this.
Oh, the egg is actually quite bad here in case
Yeah.
Modi is another T-horn. But it does give it him a target.
Yep. This egg's fully functional. Now you can go for a slash and a blood tier, or blood tier and a tempest, and take care of the big boy.
I think you move 2 forward here and DBS.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
what's it called now? Kingsguard in his face.
Yeah, that'll lock up Modius, and Modius has shown he doesn't like attacking those, so that could just put him in jail right away.
Yeah, I also think the Copiate is a little bit too defensive here. Maybe he's worried about
Yeah.
another aspect in the Thunderhorn combo.
Yeah, that might be it.
But then he played into it, so...
He'll still get blown up by it, yeah.
Modius also does a good job playing around Claim here.
Yeah, this is some good anti-claim spacing. He's still doing the thing where he's dumping absolutely every card into damage, which isn't so bad now that he's got a couple other cards to float with, but generally you want to replace one of them.
Yeah, and Copiate now is pretty much forced to EMP this board.
Yeah, one more round of that and it's curtains. Well, if he didn't have all his healing. And Trinity Oath is a perfect final card in hand.
Well, this time around Frostburn is going to be quite good.
Yeah, it's looking good now that it'll wound the big boy and clear 3.
Then you trade a 3-4 into the EMP, and then you BBS.
Yep.
That doesn't go because that's only 6. Ooh, that's risky considering that Copiate is playing
Heals and Holy Immos?
Loosened Beam. He could have dealt a lot of damage if he had Loosened Beams here.
Yeah. Yeah, generally you want to finish off the enemy's minions, 7 damage on your turn. I guess he values the positioning a lot more, being more towards the center, which you generally don't want to be closer to Brome, because then you get stuck. Especially when you've got the Drake, or Dowager Eliath to slow everything down. Okay, with Copiate fading at the bottom of the map, Modius can jam this Draugr on the top, but can't also drop a Spelljammer, but that's fine.
I think I would prefer the Jammer here.
Yeah, more options. Drawing 1 card per turn against Brome doesn't feel good.
Yeah, we also see Copiate here getting punished a little bit, or Modius I should say, punished here, because a lot of his deck is removal. But that's not going to help him a lot right now.
Yeah, there's not very many minions in Brome's deck. Like, you can just get away with having Crestfallens as your only minions a lot of the time. And some of the minions go too fast to effectively take out. This Martyrdom heals Modius for 10, so you can't feel too bad about that.
Yeah, that's actually not too good for Copied here because
Yeah,
he
no,
doesn't
that's
have a
behind.
way to refill his hand, so he might run out of steam.
Yeah, he's gonna need to find some Trinity. Oh.
And again,
Don't even need to finish the sentence. Lion-R is just fine. Spelljammer kind of far forward. I would think you want to protect that unit, being that it's so important. Like, it could die to Pony plus Lasting Judgment or something.
if I would have been Modis, I probably would have played it in his face completely.
Yeah. Yeah, actually,
Even
just
more
try to
aggressive.
rush it. Just go for it. Because you can't just fade against Brome. Because now look at it. His action bar is maxed. Yeah, there's some good stuff in there.
You could double Lasting Judgment the Jammer. I don't think I hate, if I'm being copied here, I want to deny
The
Modi's
card draw, yeah. Because that's the thing that would turn Modius' game plan on the most. Being able to draw another aspect, draw more of his artillery combo.
So one of the cards that Modis could have included in this matchup is actually Blue Conjure, which I think would have been good here.
Yeah, Blue
Because
Conjurer is a really good sustain or late game fuel giver, because every time you cast a spell, you get a random Arcanist, and Arcanists on the average are incredible. You get stuff like Lightbender or just gigantic bombs, and it would trigger a lot with all these one-cost BBSs that are being triggered and copied and such. So
yeah,
that would,
because you can keep the token DBSs in your hand, and then you can
yeah.
convert them into real Arcans cards.
Yeah, that would be really good. And then those Arcanist cards maybe proc off the other spells, and then you get some sort of combo going. Like, what if you get, like, a Kindling off? Be really nice. So, Copiate opting to keep the Spelljammer around. Gets that second card draw. Scintilla immediately is a dog.
Yeah, now I think it makes sense to move away with the Jammer. You can also see that Copius is down to 16 cards. He's in his teens.
Yeah, there's a threat. It's always a Brome deck that has this threat of, they take the game so long they end up decking themselves.
And we also see Modius doing a good job in playing around Queen here.
Yeah, he's definitely very aware of that card in his list and knows how to fight a Lion-R at this point. T-Horn now a 7-1. And this Heart Sister could swap to give T-Horn the ability to just hit Brome here.
Yeah, but he's probably gonna just blood
Yeah,
so
yeah. And there it is.
Copius is playing a lot of his minions very defensively. I really don't. I didn't disagree with that. I think you need to be a little bit aggressive when you play this deck.
I guess he just feels he can out-heal the damage that Faye can dish out from afar. Thunderhorn number 2. Just keep it going. Well, I guess this will be his third one. And you can see Modius is kind of back in this game, doing some pretty good fighting with this second Spelljammer, giving him a little bit of extra. Brome is
Yeah,
all
it does.
spells.
He does refill his action bar a little bit.
Yeah.
Copiate has so much fuel and so much sustain that it is very difficult for Modius to actually finish.
Yeah.
You know.
Circle of Life is definitely that, and he's got 3 of them. It's like the perfect get to late game card.
Yeah, and the 1/2 he gets to generate each turn
Yeah.
does make a difference in the long run.
Yeah,
Because you can
he's
heal
got 3
how
of them.
much that 2 damage doesn't matter if Copiate is good enough to, or skilled enough, I should say, to play around Warbird.
Yep, the only bonus procs Modius can get with a Warbird is if he works for it with a Hearth Sister, and even then, it's not great what can be done. Best bet is killing a Crestfall. Okay, that's not the swap direction I thought he would do. Because now BBS doesn't kill it. And it would have been dead by now. Whoops.
That was the minion displacing one, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hearth Sister could have been played directly above Brome, which would have been a little better. But I guess if he loses by 1, we know why. Immediate Lasting Judgment on the Sentinel wins the... I guess it's a coin flip at this point, because there's pretty much no Drake Dowagers.
Yeah, that seems to be a sideboard card that is not in the...
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be here.
That.
I think it would be nice to just have 1 in there, just confuse your opponent. Maybe they see it burned or something at some point, or just put the fear into them. And as you were saying, it's specifically good against Brome, because he likes to get in there a lot.
So Copiate does actually go with the Sunbreaker play that I was going to suggest.
Oh.
It will allow him to clean off both the Jammer and the Hearth Sister. And he stops Modius from refilling his hand.
Modius probably just going to put down the 7/7 beater. Yeah.
Yeah, but it decides not to replace the Chromatic Cold, which I would have done if I were him.
Really concerned about Scintillas? I mean, dispelling a red Sinja doesn't do much, and it seems like most of these minions he's got immediately do something once they're cast. Sunset Paragon demonstrating how good it is, just a clean counter to EMP.
Yeah. If I were Copiate there, I probably would have moved 2 to the left instead.
Okay. The other option is you move to the right and summon to the left to get a provoke, but that would give Modius a chance to get back in the game with burst damage. Multiple silences. This, yeah, there's so few targets that these Chromatic Colds and these Ravagers have that they may have just been swapped for some other cards. Because I feel like he's just going to be replacing them. A little bit of healing to keep him in the game, but we can see Copiate finally drew his blue Conjurer, so now he can get as many minions as he wants.
Yeah, I was actually going to suggest that maybe Modius shouldn't play the Herald, because he gives him a good Circle of Life target.
Yeah, because he can't heal himself up if there's no targets for it, and the Azure Herald isn't doing a whole lot. But I guess he's just under the gun and feels pressured to drop anything he can.
Yeah, if I were Copiate there, I think I would have preferred doing the Circle of Life play right now.
Yeah, because now he's at 12, and Faye's got some bursts and invincibility to take turns off. Although we can see Modius doesn't have either of that right now, so he's going to want to replace. Or just a spell to kill the creature and walks out. Basilisk in the face. Silencing the unit generator.
Yeah, but at this stage, I think it's a little...
a little too late. Yeah.
And as Modius only has 1 card in hand, it's unlikely he's going to have a lot of burst. At best, that's a Mentor or a Crypto, and that's only 2 additional damage. And Modius is dead.
Yeah. He was replacing to try and find a 3 damage to everything. This Mentor is a little too slow. Well played. And with that, Modius getting hit 2-0 by Copiate, who will be advancing to the next round.
Yeah, Hellgin was actually a player I played in the last tournament.
Nice. He eliminated me, actually, from the last tournament.
Hey.
Yeah. So I was hoping for my boy Modius here, but congratulations, Copiate. Absolutely destroyed with this really strong Brome late game. Seems to just have all the options, and Modius definitely did more than 25 damage, but that wasn't enough.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mismatch there for Modius in two ways. There's a lot of minion removal. Kobe does not have that, and then he has all the healing and all the sustain, so
Yeah.
it was a nightmare matchup for Modius.
And then having your EMPs getting hit by the Paragons or getting hit by the Red Sinja. Yeah, that's some pretty rough stuff when your outs get deleted like that. But congratulations once again. Let's move over to our second match. We have the rivalry going on here. I don't.
You gotta tell me about that.
Yeah, Wirox versus Juiceboxy. I don't know what the beef was or where it came down to, but these two are absolutely rivals, and I think Wirox has a pretty commanding winning record, but both of these two are on the first page of the top 100. They are definitely monsters in terms of how strong they are at playing this. And as for what they're playing, Juiceboxy, known Lionar liker, is here with the Bond deck. So we have Impervious G, 2 Divine Bonds, and she swears by these Sworn Sisters, so we've got a couple of those in there. Versus Wirox, who is doing Arcanists with Shaddai, the Moggen special.
Juiceboxy definitely is running an unusual style of Bond.
Yeah.
There's no Iron Clips, there's no Arclight Sentinels, there is no Tigresses.
Yeah, those are usually the typical ones you see in there. Instead, we've got some fancy tactics with Magnetize to be able to warp your units around, a little bit of Sustained with Sundrop Elixir to just use the extra cards and go fast. And Impervious Giago is usually just a Gauntlet card, but check it out. It's also a 1/8 that's here.
Is it not a 110?
Or it's a 110? Yeah, so it'll hit for 11 if you tap it with the Bond. And it might even be stronger if it gets attacked before then for whatever reason. And Duelyst for also handing off the Tombstones, which are gigantic targets for Bond. We don't have any of the Mass Bond that hits everything.
Oh, Divine Liturgy.
Yeah, we don't see any Divine Liturgy much in general. I actually haven't seen anyone cast that, and there's a Bond deck without it. A lot of early game.
I do think most of these spells are probably sideboarded, so I don't think it's as much of a spell-centric deck as it might seem.
Yeah, healing is really good to have against burn decks.
Against Byssian, for example. So if they Demonic Lure your thing in the corner, you can just bring it back.
Yeah, Magnetize would be a really good combo for that. Usually you see that with Zeal minions like Second Son. I guess it's just going to be used mostly for grabbing Silver Guards or possibly getting a kill on something.
Yeah, they could have gone more with the Zeal synergy here. Juicebox, yes, he has both Wind Blades and Silver Guards, so she could have played After Blazes and potentially also Marching Orders.
Yeah, possibly. And then the Wirox list is pretty standard from what you might see. There's just the one Battle Pando, the one Suzumi Bachi. We got the one Sparrowhawk to hand off a teleportation spell. Clear for some nice late game, but it's the usual suspects for what you might see in a kind of arc list, which is mostly looking to win off of Kindling, handing off of ridiculous damage, and then the backup strat of Four Winds Magi can ping them from afar.
Only running one Sparrowhawk is interesting. There's a lot of one-offs here, like one Mystic, one Suzumibachi, and one Battle Pando.
Yeah, makes it a little harder to play around maybe.
Is this... Did you submit a full 40-52 deck?
This might just be a 40 list. We have a couple players that opted to not put in a sideboard, or they have a partial sideboard. So maybe what you see is what you get. That said, are you ready to jump into Wirox versus Juicebox?
I am.
Cool. Let's jump into game one in 3, 2, 1, pastes. And hello, Poncho Mango, watching from work. We are just jumping into the second series. Game number 1 of Wirox versus Wirox Hater.
Oh, wow, yeah.
These two actually have an alternate account. We have a Juice Hater on the other side. Yeah, these two are great. Juiceboxy probably going to be switching off the account to another account depending on the matchup. And I actually had a funny rule in place for this tournament. If these two both were to enter, they got matched against each other round 1. Normally wouldn't have been the case because they're both monster seeds and they would have had a bye. But hey, this is it. They just throw down and they're both in. So it's pretty great to see. And right off the bat, Juiceboxy killing that Scroll Bandit so it doesn't get a chance to do anything. And the Kissy.
Throw some Kissy emotes. Rub it all in.
Yeah.
Well, Wirox at least has an easy play. Just backline the Prismatic Illusionist.
Yep.
And
do you take 2 steps up or down so you can threaten the mana tile? Okay, never mind. We'll just take a diagonal step and eat the mana tile immediately. So, looking to generate some spells right now.
This
Tatsu.
seems like a very risky play because
Yeah.
he can't clean off the Silver Guard. He can deal 3 damage.
But the Silver Guard's definitely going to want to clean it.
Yeah, this is gonna get immolated next turn. So he can very easily do full clear here,
Yep.
where he moves down, takes the mana tile with the blood tier, and then he immolates. And that's the full clear. And I reckon that's pretty much game. Or well, not pretty much.
It's a
Peter in
really
good
strong
position.
spot, yeah. Puts Juicebox in a really nice spot. Wirox,
I also think Wirox Hater needs to replace First in the Draw here. It makes the correct replacement. I would also got rid of the line there.
Yep. Finds a nice piece of removal. Won't need it now, but it'll be good as soon as Kindling shows up. Probably will hold on to it just for that card or some other similar threat. And
It's like
okay,
the-
yeah, keeping the mana alive for another turn. Keeping the BTA in hand.
He does decide to trade with the Silver Guard, which I disagree with, because
Because now, yeah,
because she can, or is it a he? Yeah, he can.
yeah, Gotatsu is a really good clear option here.
Doing so passes you the turn.
Yeah, so is it going to be a 4 Winds Magi turn to bait the removal and to just get something down? This is way too small to throw a non-expire seal on it, so you don't want to cast that. Kindling it is.
Yeah, decides to trade it. You're getting rather low here.
Yeah, what if there was another Holy MO, then Wirox would really be in the back foot.
Yeah, I would have put up to 3 then, right?
Yeah, but doesn't want to just Gotatsu, even though that would give him an extra card in hand. Guess feels that would put him way too far behind on the board. Kindling's kind of a massive threat and is very tempting to just immediately march your Dominant and bam. Let's just get that off the table.
Yeah,
Leaves
Wirox Hater makes a strong play here by simply playing the Silver Guard. And does Juice has the Juiceboxy has Oath. She can empty her hand also next turn by going DO into BTA.
And Wirox here is not going to be able to really teleport away from this situation. Just has to deal with Knights in the face.
Yeah, I think that turn 2 he had when he juxtated to Kotatsu is actually hurting him a lot right now. Having
Yeah.
that juxtaposition would have been strong, could have teleported away.
finally finishes off the week 1 with a Gatatsu, but not after it takes the mana tile and has done already so much work. Making the choice to not attack the knight just to chip it down 3 or 2 more hit points, which is some good stuff. And yeah, now it's time for Juiceboxy to drop a Dio from the looks of it.
Yeah, you roar the Silverguard, kill off the 4 winds, and
Yep.
play everything save for the oath.
Maybe considering roaring something else and finishing it off with a BTA. But a roar here makes the most sense. You can even use the BTA to block in Shidai, so there's just no escape option at that point.
You also corner provoke here. No, wait, you can't actually.
And Warrock's getting his Calligrapher, the 7-drop with 6 mana. It's slightly too early, it's a disaster. It's gonna likely just slash the Silverguard, transform the Dio.
It's not a bad play.
And then for other plays, could potentially just drop the Scroll Bandit somewhere, and then maybe get a setup on it with these 2 movement spells. Drops the Scroll Bandit kind of close. It's actually kind of a nice spot to put it because it's mostly centered. Well, it's the exact center. Should be able to get some easy backstabs from here, but going down to 11 is gonna kind of suck for Warrocks. Because there's no healing options aside from the tiny regen you get from 4 Winds Magi. And the 1 healing Mystic.
Yeah, you also get the 1 healing spell from Trinity Wing.
Right.
Maybe you juxtaposition the Silverguard here, so you reduce its attack to just 3 with your. I decide to.
Wants to keep it.
testify. The positioning here by Wirrok here is actually pretty good because he can't backstab, can't attack it with his general, these scroll bandits, but he
Yeah.
can reward the Pando.
And
And
even
for
if
the
he
hell-
uses the Pando to block the backstab, that just sets up for the Jux.
No, because you move below, should I? Reward the Pando, attack, and then BTA, and then it dies.
Okay, he is making that step.
Oh, for a second there, I thought he would attack with his general into the scroll band.
Yeah. Which would have handed off a free spell, fortunately. Just roars up the Pado, uses that. Finds his 1 battle Pando.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you replace anything here. I don't think. I think you might just want to see if you can find a mana vortex.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
You can replace something that the Calligrapher gives you too, if it doesn't end up being that great. Like, maybe you don't want to be meditating. Inner Focus is pretty decent to have with Calligrapher. It's going to result in way too many cards being played, but it's could potentially get something else. Not having any mana, though, is kind of an issue. And not getting any mana vortexes was too bad.
I think replacing the meditate is pretty much a must here.
Yeah.
A dead card here.
Because you don't
I
want to be
wonder if
dropping
you
more cards
actually
of...
draft the edition. Oh, he decides to play the meditate.
So that gives him more copies of Roar? Oh, you cast most recently.
The spell you cast most recently. I don't even remember what spell he cast most recently.
Yeah, too bad we can't scroll the battle log. Maybe it was the Gotatsu before the Calligrapher came out.
Was it not the Onyx Bear Seal, maybe?
Right. So he may be drawing lots of those. Onyx Bear Seal's pretty nice against Lionar with their gigantic minions that they want to be handing off. Bond.
Alright, well, Viraxator decides to tank 4 to get rid of the Calligrapher. Can't let...
Yeah, you don't want that going off again. But managed to heal up a bit, drop another Silverguard Knight, and is fully reloaded to keep going. Wurox cannot escape unless Tanahashi is cast to get rid of the Silverguard Knight. It could also reduce his attack to make it a little more tempting to hit with the General plus maybe a Battle Pando.
Yeah, that definitely is a play. So right now, Ethereal Blades would have been very good to have because it would have allowed you to deal 4 damage with the Pando, 5, 7.
Yeah, can't replace the Find It though, as that's not on the list.
I think he got Ethereal Blades off of Calligrapher,
Hmm.
but decides to get rid of the
Calligrapher
Tree Wing.
finding one of his OBSs, of which the deck probably has several of now. OBS pretty decent. It's not clean removal though, because they can still be roared into 2/2s. Finds another Tanahashi, which is pretty decent against an Argeon list with these Silverguard Knights.
I'm kind of inclined to actually just play double Tanahashi
Yep, here it is.
and then just use the Battle Pando BBS or Inner Focus.
Yep, I'll take it to 2, and then you can finish it off with the General pretty well.
One thing I tend to like to run in these decks is one Spiral technique. That would have given Weird some good opportunities too.
It's a helpful thing to play around.
Yeah, just decides to build some distance here.
Yeah, can't just keep face tanking forever. Gonna fade away and hopefully drop an Owl. The Silverguard might just be coming in range to trade with the Battle Pando.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I would have done here.
And
You
then
can actually put Weird just 2 here if he...
uses the MO just to push some damage.
I wonder if... no, I think Magnetize was lethal there.
Oh! To replace for a Magnetize. That could have been interesting.
Yeah, just does a full surround here.
Yep. Juice Boxy's got Wirox in the Death Grip. Game 1. Let's see if Wirox can removal his way out of this. He does.
He's gonna have...
Yeah, he's pretty likely to replace and find OBSs, but it's not able to get more than what he's got now.
Yeah, and right now I don't think there's really anything he can do because Viraxator has the Immolation in hand.
Yeah, this is the beatdown for sure.
You gotta try. Maybe you play the Chakri, you do Inner Focus, you Onyx Bear Seal one of the targets.
Maybe Onyx Bear Seal the cat because it hits slightly harder. Throw down a distraction guy.
I think you use the inner focus to kill the cat, and then you
Right.
expert the 3/4. Because the cat has a small stat, so you want to trade with the chakra.
Right. And then that allows Wurox to do 2 steps to the left and have... Or no, the OBS doesn't allow him to path through the Azure Herald. Might just Tanahashi again. Although, unfortunately for Wurox, we can see this holy emote. It's going to mess with this math a bit. Boom! And just like that, Wurox has taken the first game. Strong performance by Juiceboxy. Seems like a pretty volatile matchup. It's like if you make one mistake, then suddenly you're already in the deep. But let's see if Wurox can take it back. Game number 2, ready to jump into that. We see that Stoic is going to have a quick bathroom break, so we will be back in a minute. Be right back.
I am back.
Alright, welcome back. Yeah, we are checking out Juiceboxy versus Wirox. I'm going to throw up the decks again real quick just for a quick refresher. We've got Juiceboxy ahead, game 1. She didn't need to cast Divine Bond at all, just got there with a whole bunch of Trinity, or a whole bunch of Holy Emos. Yeah. We'll see if Wirox's Prismatic Illusionist spam can go any better in game number 2. I'm ready to jump into that.
Let's see. Yes.
Okay, Wirox versus Juiceboxy game number 2 starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. We
So
are
we're on
here.
a really interesting turn here where we can Mana Forger into MDS turn 1.
Yep. Kind of a dream start.
Considering that Juicebox does not bring Arclight Sentinels, that might be worthwhile doing.
Decides to keep it in hand for now. But it's possible for Wirox to take a lot of mana.
I think you have a pretty good play here of your Wirox, because you can take the tile,
Yep.
play the Prismatic Illusionist, nearby the SGK, Gotatsu the Silverguard Knight, and then use the token, and then hit. But he does not decide to do that play.
Yeah, taking the diagonal step instead. Definitely going for a lot of mana. Maybe even the top mana too. Probably. Well, doesn't need it because can cast
He
2
will
spells.
create. Oh, I'm noticing now that Juicebox does not actually play Tempest in this list.
Which is really weird. You'd expect that'd be a staple to just deal with swarm lists, but now you can lean into the swarm strategy against it.
Yeah, that might be what Wirox is doing, but I still think I would have tried to clean off the Silverguard here. But we'll see what he winds up making instead. So considering the play you made, I think you have to MDS.
Yeah, taking both
Illusion.
mana, this kind of tells that both spells are going to be cast here. Maybe? It would keeps these valuable units alive.
If he has MDSing the Mana Forger and then inner focusing the token illusion, he would
Yep.
kill the Silverguard, but it's gonna go down to just 2 cards in hand.
Yeah, seems like you may have wanted to just take 2 steps forward and hit for 3, but playing this game a little differently, valuing that health bar a little more, see if that works out better. The corner illusionist is looking way better than it was last game, where it was just right in the middle of the map and got bopped. And as you're saying, since there's no Tempest, this is going to be a huge problem to deal with, and there's no airdrop Iron Cliffs to deal with it either.
Well, fortunately, the Magnetize comes right in time.
Ooh, perfect timing for that, yeah.
Indeed. So you can magnetize into a line here, potentially?
Yeah, that seems better than waiting a turn and having the Holy Mo and Magnetize. Because if you give a Songhai player a turn with the Illusionist, you know they're just going to go nuts with it. If they can. 2 hits of the BBS will probably be enough.
For Wirox next turn, he has the option of either going Illusionist number 2
Yep.
or playing a Battle Panda. Which I think I would prefer almost a Battle Panda here.
Battle Pando does deal with the Azrai line pretty well. And can even take out a lot of stuff. But here's our Magnetize. Don't give it an extra turn. Dies instantly.
I think if you Wirox here, you can pretty safely back off.
Yeah.
You have a few turns away from Clay, and there's no EMP to worry about. So I'm gonna retract my statement and I say it's time to play second illusionist.
Maybe no replaces, or maybe replace the avatar trying to find more spells.
Yeah, I do think you replace the avatar because Bjorx has Lightbenders and Martyrdom, so I think
Yeah, easy removal for it.
possibly you might want to send the 2/1 illusions into the Silver Guard.
Oh yeah, for sure. You don't want that to get holy mode and then back to full.
Also here you get a little, like can you? Yeah, there's no good position for the Mana Forger right now because the spawn of the illusion took the space you wanted the.
Yeah, you can't fade to the left, and it doesn't make much sense to go to the right, so it just stays top center. Fortunately, it's not going to be an easy kill. Or it's not going to be possible to kill at all at this rate.
No, not as it stands right now, but there is Blood Tears in Wirrock's hater stack.
Yeah.
And Wirrock's, the OG Wirrock's would know that.
Yeah. If Juicebox, he can stall out 2 more turns. This Aperion's Claim turns into a really nice removal piece.
Yeah, I think you roar the line here and kill the Mana Forger. I think you move 2 forward with your General on Silver Guard and place a Dialtus in space. There's no Eternity Painters to worry about.
Yeah.
There's 2 Lightbenders in Wirrox's list. I don't think it's worthwhile playing around that.
And then 2 diagonal steps with the Azurite line.
Yeah, unless Wirrock's Hater or Juicebox wants to preserve it, feeling like the line is destined for greater things. Because if it moves to kill the Mana Forger, most assuredly is dead to
The illusions would just take it out immediately. But it is trading a 2-drop for a 2-drop. Duelyst playing kind of safe.
Yeah, it doesn't want it to
Just get Lightbender.
get traded into the tokens.
Yeah. It doesn't want the 2
But
ones to get it.
decides to position the lion where it's exposed.
Yeah, what? 1 step forward with the lion. Wasn't expecting that.
Maybe Juicebox doesn't expect Wirrox to hit with the Mana Forger.
Or is making a hard read that there's just no spells for the discount to hit. Although this Inner Focus is free, so Wirrox can be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, but I think Wirrox is a good play here, where he plays Pando, Inner Focus it,
Yep.
and attacks into the line.
Yeah.
And then the ping would kill the SGK, put the else 5/2, and then you can send the illusion into the 5/2.
And leaves them with just a totem, and then a totem could take a ton of damage from what's already on the board. Or the tombstone.
Yeah, that seems to be the play he's going to make. I hope he doesn't use the backstab spell here, because then...
Yeah, he doesn't get the 1 damage to everything proc, so it's necessary for him to get hit.
Yeah. Does that play?
Yep, and then he's got leftovers. He could potentially throw it on a Scroll Bandit. Could try to do it. Well, probably not a replace. Would have done that by now.
Deciding to keep his illusion around. I'm wondering if he's trying to do some kind of healing turn here.
Yeah, how is a 5/2, which is in range of your general, not the most valuable target to kill? Now, Wirrox is just going to go down to 20, and is lucky that there isn't spot healing, but this Holy Immo could be cast also on the Dio to just do 9 damage. Huh. Kind of baffling, but Warrox's board's actually kind of incredible, so probably doesn't feel too pressured to try to kill everything possible all the time. And leaving a Tombstone could potentially be a disaster, because if you cast Divine Bond on it twice in a row, you just have a gigantic beater and could potentially flip the game. So Warrock's likely playing around that.
Yeah, that's possible, but for Boxy here, I think you have to clean trade into the battle panda to ensure that your entire board doesn't get hit by the AoE. I do think you have to be worried that Werox might have Kindling in hand. So you have to position around that.
Yeah, right. Because any of these illusions could suddenly have infinite attack. So you gotta really watch out for that.
Well, he can cast 3 spells, so that's plus
Yeah.
3 attack to all Arcanists.
Which would be everything. Except for the panda.
Yeah, decides to take the additional 2 damage to his face, but it does allow Dialtus to swing, but I don't think that's relevant here, because Werox is so high, so I think I would have sent the Dialtus into the panda. Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
yeah. Because now after doing a draining wave, you can see
you
just how low he's getting.
play the Dialtus here.
The Alt is very good anti-aggro strat. Owl be Sage, incredible for the Arcanist plan.
Yeah, but here you have to be a little worried. If you're
Yeah, because now you have to
If-
play around the bonds.
I think Bond might be lethal here. It's
Yep.
8, 13, 15, 6, 17. So it's pretty much lethal, but he can put it to 2, or actually to 1 on board.
Yeah, which is what you gotta do, because you gotta diffuse that gigantic power and hope that it can't just get healed up and spooled into attacking again.
So he does have 2 options here, and one of them is to play the 4 winds, and one of them is to play the Owl Beast.
He goes for the Owl Beast to keep his team alive.
Yeah, let's see if he also casts the
The
backstab
backstab.
one. There was a time when I knew all 4 of these spell swords by name.
Gotetsu. Yeah, and Masamune, or maybe those Masamura, or I don't even. I don't play enough shit. I didn't have all these memorized. But they're all really good. Might as well just throw this one to put yourself out of range of Duelyst, because it's not like you're going to be getting a backstab proc with it anyway, unless this illusion on the right side can get there. Well, maybe it doesn't change much. It's just going to keep it.
I would have kept it if I were. No, he decided to cast it. Alright.
So Duelyst can't kill anything now. Everything has scaled up to be way too huge, unless he's going to settle for this illusion token.
Yeah, and then he's got a not too great claim here. He can claim the Owl Beast and the Squirrel Bandit.
Yeah, or just a couple tokens, or like a 1 mana forger that isn't doing much.
I do believe the Martyrdom to
Into the
the
owl?
Immolation might be the better play here.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Okay.
replace for the bond.
Yeah, Juiceboxy, I guess, is just really liking the quality of the 2
Bond
spells.
would have been lethal, so because 4 damage from the Tombstone would have put Werox to 15, and then 8 from the tombstone, plus 5, 13. So that would have been lethal with general hit.
Hmm. Although finds the lasting judgment off the top.
Interesting to play both lasting judgments and martyrdoms in the same deck, because now you're getting into a position where there are 3 spells in your hand when you're playing a divine bond deck.
Yeah, so much for most of the spell package being left in the sideboard. We actually have all kinds of it just in the main deck.
Yeah, decides not to cast Sugatatsu. I think I almost would have preferred. Oh no, he did.
Yeah, casting the
Oh, yeah,
Gatatsu after the 4 Winds
yeah.
Magi's out.
Now we can just trade into the tombstones and run away with the general, so you don't risk anything.
Yep. And this Magi in the back is going to be a huge problem. It's probably just going to get immediately hit by Martyrdom.
Yeah, but if he does that, that's damage already been done. Like,
Yeah.
you're staring down too much damage.
Yeah, and now you're offering even more healing, and it's to not have any cards in your action bar, and to deal with that is going to be a little rough.
I would move one back if I'm Werox, just to make sure I'm not in range of the tombstone.
Right. And there. Okay. Well, it takes the 2 steps.
Yeah, but as long as you don't die from the tombstone randomly.
Yeah, that's a lot of this potential seeker damage that can just be so explosive and throw the game around.
And at this rate, I'm not really sure what Werox can find here.
Trinity Wing is a really good card to get when you're low on cards, because you just suddenly get a full grip of great stuff. Juice Boxy
and
here just with a couple spells. Yeah, yeah.
Which would be amplified by 4 winds, so that would be 3 damage, and then you can cast. Yeah, it's enough to end the game and then some.
Usually, a way that Lionar can come back in a situation like this is turn over turn Trinity Oaths to just keep healing and keep your hand max, and then you throw down a bunch of spells. But not seeing any of that in Werox Hater's grip.
No, we haven't seen any Sworn Sister Lycians either.
Yeah, I guess that is just super secret tech that it's not ready to pull out yet, or just been unlucky not finding them. I actually love that card in factions that have not so much like themes that are not general. Like it sucks to play Abyssian with that card and you get something creep specific and you're not running it. But Lionar stuff is generally all really good. I also like it with Vitruvian where you get all kinds of good stuff. Okay, well,
It was considered one of the best draw cards for some time, but then it started falling out of favor when for Spelljammers and
yeah.
I do think this has to be lethal. Because one of the teachings of the dragon will be...
Yep, hands off with Tiny Fireball, and bam, there it is. So Werox tying up the series, the 1-1 apiece. Yeah, cool. This is our first game that's gone to 3. Ready to jump into game number 3 of this series.
Just a sec, I hit the build button and the game took some time to load. Now I'm ready.
Alright, let's paste it in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, Werox versus Juice Box. Game 3, the decider. Which one gets eliminated? And which one gets to brag about it for the next 100 years? They got the same positions 3 times in a row. So Werox just has the initiative every time. And we're going to have a possible double Windblade Adept turn 1.
We also see Phoenix Fire here, which we didn't see the other two games. I wonder if that was a tech in or if it was just a card we didn't see.
It's going to be the perfect solution for these Windblade Adepts. Just one card in, one card out.
Yeah, but doesn't turn one.
No turn one play.
I'm assuming he's running 9 of them. 3 Trackers and 3 Forgers and 3 Bandits. So I think that amounts to like a 91% chance.
Yeah, and there's the couple one-ofs. Although we haven't seen a Suzumi Bachi or a Healing Mystic, so I don't think they made the cut.
Yeah. So here, Wirox has 2 options in my mind. He decides to go for the clean the board option.
Yep, moves right to the center.
Back off and play Prismatic Illusions.
Oh, you're thinking the other option is you actually fade and play the illusion, and let Juicebox just take the mana.
I mean, he's not running big things to worry about. Like there's no iron core,
yeah.
there's no crown,
This is
so.
it's so reactive.
Do you have the OBS here? Which, considering Wirox's deck, is like one of the best targets, at least, for the Duelyst.
Yeah, OBS on Duelyst really, it seems almost necessary because otherwise you're chewing through 2 minions.
Another line of play could be to play Albeast on lower tile, and then attack into Gidatsu.
Okay. Yeah, that gets a minion on the board immediately, but it would immediately trade. No wait, it would pop itself up. Yeah, that.
But it would be a 4/5, so it would die to Immolate.
Yeah. Well, we have an illusionist on the mana tile. Let's take it.
Yeah, Wirox seems to like building these.
Yeah, we've been seeing the illusionist opening every game now.
Yeah, so he can then Gitatsu the Deltas and then use one of the tokens to make the trade, saving him 5 face damage.
So inner focuses to run it away.
Yeah, he missequences there a little bit. He should have done a different play.
Oh, lucky spawn though. Oh.
Yeah, I guess this was his plan all along though.
Yeah, just take a casual 5 damage to the face. It does deal with it and keeps your own board alive. Not gonna be able to do too much of that though, because Juicebox is banking on Wirox making those big trades all game.
Yeah, but Wirox Hater, I think, is suffering a little bit here because he's got all of these spells and he's not able to contribute to the board.
Yeah, it finally has an opportunity to get in a big bond swing, but just doesn't have bond.
Yeah, and then now Wirox Hater, or Wirox, as you say, I mix them up, has a little breathing room, can walk 2 back, play a 4 Winds Mega and BBS, or potentially an Albeast.
Takes the steps up. Probably gonna spoil the mana just to contest it.
I'm not sure what it really achieves.
Another spell cast, I guess. You could just cast a Gotetsu.
Still put the owl out of reach of anything. I think that's more valuable.
Yeah, because you want this owl to be alive a couple turns. And, well, casting a couple spells is not bad. 7 hit points is pretty hard to get through. It's not impossible, though.
It's getting hit by Martyrdom.
Yeah.
I guess he can Immolate.
Those are the 2 options. Immolate is... It's not great, though, because you still have to hit it with your general, and you take 4. Versus Martyrdom, which hands off full health.
Yeah, putting Wirox back to 24.
Yeah.
But you also have to be mindful here when you juice boxer because you are going to run out of cards if you spend multiple of them in the same turn. I also saw Wirox getting rid of his Calligrapher, which I'm not sure if I agree with. I like it as a catch-up kind of card when you're running out of steam late game.
Guess he likes his 4-drops a bit much and wants to keep the spells with them.
Yeah, and Juicebox has shown a lot of creatures with 3 attack, like lions, mystics, or maybe she hasn't played mystics, but at least lions and windblades. And Calligrapher deals very cleanly with those. So there was an argument for holding on to it.
Yeah, it did some incredible work last time it was out.
Alright, then decides to do the BTA into Immolate.
Yep.
Actually puts Wirox rather low. Also makes a good judgment call there by not attacking with Tombstone.
Yeah, the other line of play I had in mind involved the Tombstone moving up and that getting wholly immolated, but this line of play is a little stronger because now Wirox is stuck in the Provoke. And do you really OBS the second half of Duelyst?
I think you do.
Yeah.
Like, I think the risk is you're getting immolated next turn, and then you lose.
But that's better than dying to Bond, so you might as well. It sucks that there are so few other plays, though. Like, this is gonna be so mana intensive. The best that can happen afterwards is like a single Chakri.
I think that's also happened. Like if you like last turn when he decided to take the mana tile, if he would have moved back there, Wirox, he could have forced Juicebox to martyrdom the owl, which would have prevented the immolate damage and so on. So I think like those kind of small things can often decide a game.
Yeah, because if the owl had to get hit by Martyrdom, then you suddenly have 7 more hit points to work with.
Yeah, and Wirox Hater wasn't developing board, so then you could start developing board once more, and then maybe Wirox Hater wouldn't have the option of cleaning that off, and then you let an Arcanist player stick a board, and then you lose.
I thought he was taking his turn figuring out what he wanted to replace, but it turns out he's gonna try to put on some aggression and not opt to OBS this annoying Tombstone, maybe looking to swap it away. Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah. And then just attacking into
the BTA just to get it off the table, taking a step back.
Stepping in range of the Tombstone.
What?
I don't like.
Like, the whole point of swapping it back felt like it was to get it out of range of the general, but now it's back in range.
Now we also see Sworn Sister Lakian.
Hey, oh, immediately replaced.
Shame.
It's too bad. Well, hopefully we'll see it in a later game if anyone else is running it. Or if she can draw it later. Because you get some cool stuff off that.
Yeah, but here we also see Calligrapher right on cue.
Hey, oh, yeah, perfect timing. You just replace it and find it when you need it. So this will do some incredible work. Just takes care of Tombstone, fills your hand with good stuff, and then you draw a 6th card. Which puts Wirox right back in it.
Gets an Ancestral Divination, an Ethereal Blades, and another OBS. Replaces the Ancestral Divination. Also decides to trade here and also plays into Immolation. We'll see if that might...
Yeah, I would think that you'd want to take 2 steps down, but trying to just push the clock quicker.
So, Wirox Hater fortunately draws his Lasting Judgment. Which is going to allow him to clean off the Calligrapher.
Yeah.
While also playing a lion. I don't think it's worthwhile claiming that.
Yeah, as good of a creature it is, you don't need to use the claim, and there might be some Silverguard Knights showing up later. Or might be some other targets for, like if these 4-wind Magi's started getting a little too populated, you might just want to throw one of those down on it. Yep, opting to save the claim for a bigger target.
but does decide to play the Lion in range of Wirox, which I don't know if I like.
Yeah, because potentially a slash and Gotetsu deals with it, but not what we've got here. The Ethereal Blades would deal with it as well. Not likely to be cast, though. Might just be the replace.
So what I think you do here, if you're Wirox, is you play 4 Winds Magi.
Yep.
You MDS it to a corner, and then you Ethereal Blaze your general, and you clean up the Lion, and then you PBS. So that would be...
Yeah.
3 spells? 3 extra life?
And that gives you the setup for the Narnia strat, so you can juxtaposition away a threat. And possibly come in swinging with 4 Winds Magi.
Is that called a Narnia strat?
Yeah, I like calling it the Narnia strat, because you send them so far away, you send them to Narnia. Where you juxtaposition your own unit into one of their units just to remove it. Usually you can MDS and then do the swap to do that, but which it seems like is a good play here. Maybe considering some replace options.
I think you replace 1 OBS? Or no, you replace OBS?
Yeah.
Because, like, Wirox Hater hasn't shown any big minions yet, and it doesn't seem like Giago is in his deck.
Yeah, that's like a psych out. Or maybe against certain kinds of decks it comes in.
If I were going to add a psych card, I probably would have added a better psych card.
Yeah.
Giago.
Like the 5/5 haste cat, just make them put some fear into them.
Yeah, that's a good card to pick. Or like Peacekeeper or something.
Yeah, so I guess there's intent to bust it out in some matchups. Maybe like a Voth or something that gets more slashy, but
yeah,
Voth doesn't have it. Yeah,
yeah,
natural selection. Yeah, just slaps at it.
Shout out to Wirox here for doing his suggested play. I had over him.
Yeah, warps away. Now is in a really good spot. Juiceboxy is gonna have to maybe magnetize to bring this thing in, or kill it with a Draining Wave plus BTA.
How expensive though? You pay if you magnetize the way Blood Tier Silverguard, if that cleans it off. Very expensive play.
Yeah, probably doesn't even use the magnetize. It kind of sucks to cast Aperion Claim on it because you can't get to the healing circle to regen. Not easily, at least.
You could magnetize it so it's closer. Claim.
Yep.
But like you could also gamble here and say Wirox doesn't have a way to get it in, and just play Silverguard, war it, and then BTA emo something. Just let it stick.
Yeah. Well, maybe it is magnetized BTA MO. Yeah.
Well, that's also an option. That's better than I suggested.
And leftovers for the SGK. Perfect.
And
time for an OBS. It's kind of unfortunate to not have the second OBS anymore, but yeah, the one should be fine. And then pumping up these avatars as much as possible.
yeah, I think like you can play 1 avatar in front of Arjun, OBS, the DK, move below the blood tier, play another, and then you play on claim, and you. The only downside is you miss 1 boost with one of the chakras, but I think that's worth it.
Yeah, because you don't want to just end the... Because if they both got claimed, that would be the game ender for sure. But if at least one of them's around, that's a nice threat. And we can see the claim in hand. So that is a necessary card to play around.
Let's see if Wirox goes for.
Yep. Oh.
Yeah, this is, I think, I think this is the best play you can make here.
Yeah, it keeps these guys kind of safe and be able to pump them up.
I do think you actually cast Tanahashi.
Yep.
Because you want to boost them out of Draining Wave Reach.
Yeah, for sure.
But yet again, you don't know he has a claim, and you don't know he has a wave, so...
It's just good to spend the mana that way. You can't even replace these cards. It's really too unfortunate for Wurox that it was just Tanahashi's into Tanahashi and not the, I think it was Masamune for card draw. That one would have been a little preferred.
Yeah, and the claim into D-Wave is obviously not a good play for Wurox Hater here. Spending 2 cards, developing no board.
And taking 4 damage in the process.
Yeah, but Bender into Wave is obviously better.
Yeah, this is a fine turn. And then the next thing that gets cast is probably turning into a healing circle.
I think you go Bender here rather, but you have to be mindful so you don't just spell the cannot be attacked from your own panda.
So you'll want to drop the Bender below you. There it is. Now Juice can just clean this up with the general, and the Pando is a nice blocker.
Yeah, now I think you might want to replace the Juxtaposition, hoping you find... If you don't, you find the Ancestral Divination.
Oh no!
That's probably...
That is a disaster. These cards could not have any more anti-synergy. They would have been... It would have been really great if this Trinity Wing had any kind of Arcanist to just go off of. But since the Bond can't trigger...
But you can kill Lightbender now for free. Because you can move it to Tanahashi and Kotetsu.
Yeah. Nice little 2-card combo here.
And
then do you drop a 4/4 with no text? It flies, but that's it.
Yeah, but it seems like Wurox is not going to do that play, instead just going to choose to run away.
Or is setting themselves up to take a diagonal step forward? Or backwards, like up left? That.
No, I think he's running away.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Maybe he's assuming that the Kotetsu can give him lethal.
This Kindling is a pretty spicy pickup, because suddenly this Trinity Wing can fly out and deal a ton of damage. Well,
yeah, like
+1 per
but
spell.
The problem here is Wurox Hater might feel forced to claim here. He can move. No, there wasn't a way actually. I was thinking if he could claim his own Pado, so he gets the heal tile, but there was no way to do it, and still walk onto it this turn.
Probably just gonna look to claim the flyer. Another option is dropping a Silver Guard. Oh, never mind. It wouldn't have been that great anyway. So yeah, hard removal, maximum respect, and this Pando getting roared a second time is turning into a lethal threat just by itself.
Yeah, it decides to replace the Ancestral Divination, which I'm not sure if I agree with.
Yeah, Mana Forger.
Or mana cycle, but...
Was just hoping to get a better card than what could have been cycled into, I guess.
I think you have to commit to the board now with playing a Mana Forger, and like I think you might even want to play the Mana Forger, so you tempt the Panda into attacking into it.
Probably take 2 steps to the right and drop both of these minions to help wall off that Pando. Yeah,
Wurox Hater does have 2 Lightbenders, 1 Lightbender left and 1 Claim left, provided they play 2. So I'm not sure how much you want to play around that at this point.
Yeah, for real. You gotta play to your own outs at this point, since there's so few options with your action bar being so tiny. The real question, though, is do you just drop a Kotetsu just for a tiny buff, +1?
I don't think you do that. One line there could also have been to kill the Lightbender. But we're assuming that he can stall for at least a few more turns.
Yeah.
he placed the Mana Forger 2 above the Kindling, he might be able to tempt the Panda into attacking into it. Because Holy Immolation would be lethal. As would Lagging at times, I reckon.
Fistful of Gotetsu and another Kindling off the top. Wirox is hoping to get some Magi, so the multi-wins for a little bit of healing at this point, or actually some more spells to proc these Kindling. Like an MDS would be perfect. And that might be the card to replace into next turn.
I think if you're Wirox hater here, I think you're inclined to make the trade into the Mana Forger.
Yeah. Yeah, because now it's turning into a threat. Even though this Pando can deliver so much damage, it might as well just deliver it to this minion. Because Juice Box herself is really low. Fortunately for her, her opponent isn't running any Spiral technique to just end the game outright. Or which would be pretty close to it. And then Lightbender can take another 2 steps forward.
Yeah, there we do see the Mana Forger trade.
Yeah.
He can place the Silver Guard so that the Kindling can't connect into it. That might be the play here.
Yeah, if you place it so it's up and left of the general, then exactly like this, the general's just stuck and the minion can't contribute to clearing it.
Yeah, but the positioning of Herald, however, allows it to get cleaned off by the Kindling.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Wirox does not have an out here.
Yeah, it replaces and finds the bandit.
I think he has to gamble. He could gamble for the move a minion one space, then he could backstab it.
Yeah, that is his best play for this turn. Lethal damage is staring him down otherwise, so you have to clear one of these minions.
I guess there's a 50% chance because he might get the... No, wait, that's not how it works.
We have 3 Gotetsus. Everything has backstab.
Yeah, it's a little avail here.
Yeah, can't put any of it to use.
I think he's dead on board here.
Yep.
5, 8. Yeah, it's over.
+2 from the roar, that's it.
Yeah. Wirox hater gets the last laugh.
Wirox, defeated by his own hater. Guess Wirox should have been on the Juice Hater account.
Great screen this, I'm gonna post it as a lethal puzzle.
What do you do?
How do you end this game?
Hellgin is looking for lethal puzzles. He's got the technology to set them up, but it's going to be hard to come up with a bunch of them. Woggin's posted a couple. Sometimes people like blocking off the enemy general's hit points, and it's like, how much damage can you do? But with that, Juiceboxy has slain Wirox. Wirox being the bracket demon, or the ladder demon, that has been taking a lot of games off Juice. Juice gets her revenge. GG's, congrats.
GG indeed.
Strong stuff. Which takes us to our third match.
So I gotta pay respects to AWX Angel, because I was also reconsidering playing Finality.
Here it is. 2 copies. Yeah. Finality! This
Armada, which is a card I really, really like.
Yeah, we have 2 Armadas in here. We don't have any Fractal Refractions to get any triple blasting, but even just shooting something for 5 is a good way to just win. Finality ended up being the most common kind of deck. There are, I think, 5 Finality players.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I could have been the 6th then.
Yeah, the real outlier is we've got this Lilith deck here that's running 3 Abhorrent Umbirths, which is a really funny combo piece that eats your entire board and makes a thing that has all their stats and keywords. So you'll
That's
have like the Latigris handing off ranged and handing off rush and all kinds of stuff that combo with all this.
It feels so cheap to lose to, but
Yeah.
if you draw the right cards, you can just sometimes just win a game out of nothing.
Yeah, like you want to talk about lethal puzzles, you can do some really funny stuff with that, and you can just get gigantic blowouts. If you've got even a couple minions, you Soul Shatter Pact it, all of them have suddenly high attack, then you rebirth or unbirth, and then just one-shot minion right there. You basically build your own world core, and it could potentially be even better. The only downside with this deck, or like one of the main downsides, is if you get multiple rebirths in your hand, or if you even have one in your hand, it's not time for it. It's just a dead card. So hopefully that doesn't slow Fun Interactive down too much.
It does have a lot of mid-range stuff, so he can still be like a real mid-range deck because you
Yeah,
got Bronze Tigers and Reavers. But there's no Darkfire Sacrifices in this list, and surprisingly, there's no Demonic Lures in this list.
yeah.
Um,
Cutting the lures, really cutting the corners, trying to get on theme with their big monster mash combo. And the only piece of removal that's really hard removal is we've got the Necrotic Sphere point blank to just transform everything around into Wraithlings.
yeah, you also have Punish there, and there's 3 Blood Alchemists to enable it.
Yeah, Ping Punish. That'll be a good one. Some necessary removal option. And a lot of value generation. We have a rare setting of Shadow Watcher, which is going to get bigger every time anything dies. But this game, I don't know if it'll go on that long when the enemy is running 3 Drogons. That could be a lot of attack damage out of nowhere.
He runs 3 Cryptos, but there's no Mentors in here. I think I would have brought Mentors. At least
Yeah,
2.
yeah. Mentors are pretty nice with that. I guess Cryptos are slightly stronger of the combo since you can proc the multiplier, but the the Bloodbound Mentor is such a great beater. I guess it was swapped in favor of other things like Crater, or we've got the One Vanquisher.
Yeah, that's an interesting selection.
Yeah,
I reckon it's the only Vanquisher brought this in this tournament.
it makes that Lava Slasher take that extra step. I guess the Rage Binders will like it too. Funny stuff, but hey, maybe it'll be awesome. Ready to
I
jump into
reckon,
this.
yeah, we'll jump into the game. I reckon that AWX has the edge here, but we'll see.
Alright, well, let's do a countdown and jump into our third of 4 series for today. Let's jump into this one in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, Fun Interactive wins the coin flip or has gotten initiative. We'll be going first, and Aethermaster is a pretty charming turn 1 play. AWX Angel looks to have some pretty solid stuff on turn 1 as well.
Yeah, interesting to play Red Steel Minos in your deck, but not playing Cryptographer. If that either master would have been a cryptographer, that could have been an interesting interaction.
Yeah, as is, it's kind of like a 2-3 with Grow 2, sort of. It's Grow 2, but you gotta work for it, and it doesn't even trigger every turn until you've got 9 mana. So it's just kind of a beater. I don't know, I feel like something to lean into the Aether Master would be a little better, like like an Astral Crusader. Or anything that cares about replacing, like White Widow.
Yeah, Astral Crusader could boost the opponent on birth, but it's a bit of a long shot. He's probably running either Masters to make his deck a little more consistent.
Yeah.
Opts not to replace one of his 2 Soul Shatter Pacts, which is curious. I think it would have done that.
Yeah. Usually if you've got a double of your card, you'll want to replace it, but I guess it's so essential to just make these 1/1 Wraithlings hit, or maybe this Latigris hit for a bit more. Guess it's fine with Kron once he gets spamming.
Yeah, AWX Angel doesn't have the greatest hand here.
Yeah.
One line of play would be to BBS and just Mystic, but we'll see.
Surely it's not just dropping a crater, but I guess it could be.
I think you save the crater for the BBS next turn. Not sure if I agree with going double Mystic here,
Double
because now
Mystic.
you're down with 2 cards already.
Yeah. Really valuing building up board instead of getting the incidental healing. Or keeping the mana tile alive. I guess just really wanted to spoil it.
Well, either way, Fun Interactive has a much more options. You could
Yeah.
bring Zeraloth and then boost the red steel, or you could play a Quran here.
Could take
But
2
it
steps
seems like
down.
Zeraloth option.
Okay. Going for the Sentinel. This thing triggers off of spells being cast.
It is the only Sentinel in the deck, so it's pretty easy
Yeah.
for AW to
Oh
pick.
no. So it just telegraphs what it is straight away.
You can clear most of the board with Lava Slasher, leaving only one Wraithling alive. That seems to be the way going forward.
Yep. Lava Slasher's a really nice draw here for him.
There is even an argument for trying for replacing Crater here. I think you want to find Plasma Storms and Saurian Finales, and I think Crater is just too low impact.
Yeah, Crater just gets rid of BBS units, which is pretty low impact, but still fine in the matchup, I guess. Wants to keep it. Maybe.
Yeah, I would toss it here. I was gonna,
Yeah.
because you want to find your bigger pieces.
Yeah. Because this turn's for sure Lava Slasher, next turn's for sure War Beast. But the turn after that, if it was Crater, that kind of is slowing down. Probably going to move the Healing Mystic to the left, move his own General to the left, Lava Slasher the Sentinel. Other consideration is... No, that's just the best play. Wait a
It
sec.
seems like you're going for the Crater option
Oh.
here.
Okay.
But he chooses the BBS, he beats Fun Interactive a 4/4.
Right, you can't just cast that spell with a Sentinel.
Yeah, Rageminder is a fine play though.
Yeah,
So I
seems
guess
good.
it worked out pretty well either way.
Yeah. And this line of play stops Fun Interactive from getting that extra bit of mana, which could have been a Vorpal Reaver coming out.
But Fun Interactive has a pretty decent turn of his own. He can back off on Quran,
Yeah,
and then probably send 3/2 into the 2/3.
that seems pretty good. And then Crom can start cranking out units with keywords. You probably take a diagonal step and then place Kron diagonally even further away to protect it the most.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to be Macantor food, but you can't play around Macantor, so don't worry about it.
It's not the counter food. Kron is a known.
Yeah, he's actually stronger than Macantor.
Yeah, it lives through Macantor, it lives through Plasma, it lives through Rebuke, and because it generates a 2/2, it's safe from Natural Select. So it's
Yeah.
actually considered a very, very good card in the VoF matchup. But one downside for Fun Interactive, if he moves back for defensive Kron, is he takes a lot of damage next turn. He takes 11 damage.
Yeah, because since none of it's going towards minions, it's all going to face.
And then Macantor might be enough to finish off the game in 2 turns. Decides for the Tigers instead.
Oh, it gets the unlucky cub placement, so cannot finish off this Rage Binder.
I
That
think this this game, right?
Yeah, that actually is a huge deal. Like everything was put into this cub not being so far back.
I don't think it's game actually. He only pushes 11, so. But it's not good.
It seems like game the next turn when Drogon BBS hits.
This is a great Mecantor. I don't think you even play.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You Mecantor and kill and the entire board. Yeah, this Mecantor just plays itself.
Yep.
Decides not to move one up with this general though, which I would have done to block.
Maybe this is harder to escape Voth from just by having a diagonal step. Maybe because there's a unit up and there's a unit left, so it's kind of like a full surround to have a unit to the bottom right. But it might not make that much of a difference. Fun Interactive is going to need some crazy stuff out of Kron, like the haste guy specifically.
You do have the punish option on the Mecantor.
That is a lot more likely to work than the 1 in 6 chance or so to get the rush 2/2 broken captive. So maybe you just punish.
I don't remember if there's 1 in 5. Ooh, he takes the damage.
Oh no! 2 health?
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
doesn't provoke.
2 provokes.
So the way it stands, AWX Angel cannot finish off the game.
Best he's got is Lava Slasher plus Ragebinder kills Kron, and then his general kills a 2/2, and he still can't push lethal, which buys Fun Interactive another turn.
Yeah, I think you also replace Drogon here because now it's just overkill.
Yeah.
What would win the game here?
Turn a unit into an egg. That would be pretty strong. Okay.
Silhouette Tracer.
Doing the overkill stuff anyway. Not opting for any replaces.
Now you're building distance to Rocks. Or Fun Interactive. I'm still stuck on the last game.
Yeah, yeah.
So now Fun Interactive can play the Vorpal Reaver.
Yeah. And then once there's a ton of Wraithlings on the board, the Soul Shatter pack becomes really good.
Perhaps the Rebuke is the saving grace.
Oh no, if Aether Master exactly was placed there, it would be unrebukable. But it wouldn't have been able to be much of a blocker. And here it is. There's a very tiny chance a Wraithling takes Vorpal Reaver's spot when it dies. Which would make it... That would be the perfect blocker.
I think you still have to take the risk.
Yep. That is a huge chance to just win the game on the spot. You might as well just cast it. And...
Oh, clutch luck for Fun Interactive.
Yeah. Didn't have anything to block it. So that is it. AWX Angel wins game 1 against Fun Interactive. Some strong stuff. There might be a lot of Saurian Finality decks in the later stages, unless Fun Interactive can get a 2-0 comeback now. Ready to jump into game number 2?
Yes.
Alright, let's go in 3, 2, 1, go. Game number 2, and we can finally get a look at Abhorrence Unbirth, the flagship card of the deck, although you don't want to be drawing it early. It wasn't replaced though, so maybe you do want to be drawing it early. versus the Dream opener. People love opening with Metallurgist.
One thing to note with AWX's deck is that there's no draw here.
Yeah, it has tendency to run out of steam if it doesn't have a lot of boom booms. These flash reincarnations and such can really empty the hand size pretty quickly, and then is just reliant on stuff like an Armada or gigantic spell like Saurian Finale to really close the game out. And then of course the Silhouette Tracers and Drogons really push the game.
The Voth player here gets a pretty good opportunity to crypto on tile BBS and then cleanly take out the red seal. So he doesn't need to use the natural selection, can save it. Wow, he can even do all
Oh, the double mana steal. This is a really good turn.
I wonder if there was a way to sequence that where he also didn't lose out on the heal, but maybe there wasn't. But that is pretty dire for Fun Interactive.
Yeah, he gets locked out and all mana going the way of AWX Angel. And these combo pieces are so slow. This Shadow Watcher wants to be the last minion out. Soul Shadow packs aren't doing anything.
White Lava Slasher, so.
Yeah.
But there you see how like positioning matters, because if he would have placed the red steel Minas more defensively, he would have forced a natural select out of the Voth player, and that would have made his turn 2 play a lot weaker. But right now this is just.
Ugh, the hits keep coming.
Yeah, I wonder if you trade here with the 3-2 I think you do just to push face.
Yeah, and then it's
too far away.
Yeah, you don't care too much that it turns into an egg because it still takes their turn, but valuing the minion just being a blocker that can't be killed for free instead. Maybe looking to cash in a 3 damage on a minion or later. But that does make it vulnerable to just getting picked off by a Litiger's Cub. Although, there's like nothing good for her to hit.
Decides to hold on to the Soul Shatter Pact.
Yeah.
Doesn't give up on the dream of the combo.
But now has 2 unbirths, which is the problem I run into, it seems, every time I play this deck. The Tigger's pretty fine.
Yeah, that was a guaranteed spawn there, so good.
Yeah.
The Tiger's positioning. But this Mecantor is going to clean house.
Once again.
Yeah, but Fun Interactive had no other option here than to play into Mecantor.
Yeah. The hand is just all spells, which really limited its options.
But decides to play the... chooses to use his general to attack into the token, rather than sacrifice a crypto and deal 4 damage to his face.
Yeah, really valuing having the minion there for the surround. Doesn't want Lilith to just take 2 steps down and then plant a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and it's in such a luxurious position where he can heal with Lava Slasher as opposed to space. Next turn you get on curve and on curve into Mecantor, and yeah, both around here.
Yeah, and Rage Bender for more backup healing. And yeah, it does not have an out.
Yeah, decides to do the self-arm attitude. Oh, self-arm move in attacking the slasher.
Yep, and there it is, everyone coming in to eliminate Fun Interactive. AWX taking it, and that is it for the Unbirth play. Too bad we never got to see that spell get cast, but got to see some good moves out of AWX.
Yeah, he played it well, and he was able to force Fun Interactive into being defensive, and then the combo deck doesn't do quite so well.
Yeah, maybe it's really hard to cut cards out of the combo though, because you really want the Abhorrent Rebirth to be, or the Unbirth, to be just the centerpiece that gets you the games. But not having access to things like the whip to relocate, it really makes it so you're kind of dependent on your opponent not having a fast game.
Like, I guess what you could do if you're fun interactive is you could slot a kind of mid-range Lilith. So you run more of the Vorpal Reaver into the mid-range strategy, and you have Darkfire sacrifices. So you can either be a Abhorrent Birth deck, or you can be a mid-Lilith deck.
Right, yeah, you can do the mix up there.
But the downside is then you can't tech either deck quite well. So just that you have two decks that are kind of vanilla.
Yeah, but this is a single elim event, so that is it for that deck. We'll be seeing more of AWX Angel later, but thank you for playing Fun Interactive. That is it for that series. Let's move over to our fourth match, where we've got Dead Noobs versus Fuzzy Moth. And this is another... well, this is a different take on Magmar, because instead of doing a Saurian Finality with Voth, we've got Egg Strats with Rag.
Yeah, and he's running the Death Spikes.
Yeah, interesting package.
Designed.
Yeah, that was a Starhorn plant, but Dimanoob's wanting some long-range artillery option and went with that. Kind of interesting. Spikes are...
1.96 mana. Like in OG Duelyst, I played like Tech Spikes in Voth and Ragnar, so
maybe
it
he's
wasn't
used to that. And a couple of Reliquarians to keep it really spicy, where suddenly you can just give your general a gigantic boost with Gigantic Grow, and all of these small minions really light up.
Not sure what the target for Reliquarian is, because there's not a huge attack creature.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a Rage Binder.
Yeah, I guess
or like
you could
a Wild Inceptor.
But what I like to see, like when you play this kind of Ignore deck, is it's not a bad idea to bring one or two Saurians as a backup.
Yeah, in case things go nasty or it goes long, and then you have gigantic spell in the pocket. And Fuzzy Moth playing the first Kalios that we've seen here today. It's a bunch of Suzumi Bachis, a couple Duskriggers for throwing together a Mechazor, or Penumbrax is a really funny one.
To be able to actually summon Mechazor, but I guess you can cycle backstabs for cards.
Yeah, mostly to have a tanky build minion that you can throw out there, and then it does, I guess, some burst damage. That's pretty nice. We have two spiral counters, so anything that attacks is going to be fair game for a gigantic counterattack. And check this out. We got two Dragon Tagans. Tagging the Citron Dragon being pretty ridiculous song high, like high range.
Yeah, it's not a card I'm particularly fond of.
It's kind of fires on all cylinders at all times. Maybe it'll take away its diagonal movement ability or something, or it won't be a 6/4 forever. Who knows? Does feel right at 6 mana though, because it's competing with Zendo and Painter. Fuzzy Moth actually opting to not run any Zendos.
Yeah, I think that's probably what you want to do. Also, only two Wreaths and two Bacchasaurus.
Yeah.
I get the impression of looking at these two decks that they're just 40 decks, so it doesn't seem like either of these players brought a sideboard, but my map might be off, who knows.
It feels like you should add a couple extras just so you don't have to run Rust Crawlers where they're not great.
Oh, that's fair, that's fair.
But if that's what we got, then let's jump into our fourth series. Are you ready to go into that?
I'm ready.
Alright, let's go in 3, 2, 1, go! The Noobs versus Fuzzy Moth. And right off the bat, we've got the big boy in Fuzzy Moth's hand. What a cool sprite. I'm glad
We also have the Raptors, which is a good relic.
Yeah, Erratic Raptor is so explosive. 3 mana 5/5 with Rebirth.
Also,
Hmm.
Janoobs is an experienced player who was in tournaments from um, the old Duelyst, and he knows that you shouldn't play the Raptor 2 offensively because plus the Moth is playing the Katsus. And he most certainly is playing 3 in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting to see how these Penumbraxes will work.
Hmm.
Kalios is the general for it, but I've never seen them in action. Time to swap it away.
He does the thing where you move and then you replace.
Yeah.
I find
Weird.
myself doing that all too often these days, so who am I to judge?
Generally, replacing should be the first action you take, unless there's some RNG you're dealing with. I would think he would want to throw down a key beholder to lock the Radagraptor in place, but instead we've got the Wild Tar down.
I also decides to play the Kutatsu on the Raptor, which I think is perhaps a little short-sighted.
Yeah, like what?
Dubes has a very strong play here where he takes the center, where he takes the mana tile and simply splashes it.
He does the thing where he replaces after moving.
No, I
Yeah.
did that too.
Very solid battle slasher. This thing is somehow always on time.
Um, and at this point, it's very, very difficult for a Kalios player to come back from behind in this position. Moving
Flame
you
Wreath
back.
is a nice comeback card, but it's going to take so much. These units are so tanky.
I do think your best option here with being Fuzzamoth is to move two back and just Kai Beholder.
Yeah.
So
I actually feel that would have been a really good previous turn to just keep Beholder, to keep the Radagraptor from grabbing a Mania. Walking in range of the key, or the Radagraptor, not something I would have expected. I guess this is going to be a key Beholder to lock it down, but then the mana is exposed? No, it's just a healing mystic, okay. Just really denying the mana. Not really doing a ton of board development. This key Beholder is pretty nice, but it's just going to get hit by any Lava Lance at this point.
Yeah. So he can backline the Decimus here, which is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Doing the Lava Lance thing.
Probably would want to come in for a 5 damage bite as well with this Raptor.
But instead opts to
Huh.
hit a goal, which is fine too.
Yeah.
But I think at this stage you would rather replace the Decimus.
Or hope that you get spikes. I don't know. Really, Decimus doesn't do a whole lot with the Reliquarian, though. You'd want to find some... This Raptor is the perfect thing to eat with the Reliquarian.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're looking for flash right now, so you can play Rally next turn.
Yeah.
And then if you hatch Shirag,
That's game. Like, 2
that's
hits
a
with
pretty
that thing
big-
after it's huge. There are so many threats, and only 1 OBS.
He's probably thinking on how he can make this Flame Wreath count.
Yeah, this is really good anti-Flame Wreath placement to have your general just in the middle of everything. Okay, doesn't play the Flame Wreath as far back as he could, because he's going to look to get some damage with it immediately.
The Wreath here would be...
Yeah, takes his minion count from 4 to 1.
Yeah, now he gets to attack into the... Oh no!
Oh no! He didn't attack the egg! No!
Probably timed out. He doesn't find
That's a disaster.
the Reliquary, the Flash.
Because this thing heals another 3 too every time that it rebirths.
plans not to cash in the Raptor, knowing that it's very valuable for his Valkyrian play next turn.
The scroll band is a little too slow. Transform biggest threat.
Can't trade into... And now we can Phoenix Fire Egg, which doesn't feel good, but you're pretty much inclined to do so.
Yeah, otherwise it heals again.
So he still gets a pretty good Reliquarian here, because you can boost both the Pando and the Reliquarian itself, and keep the egg in safe position.
There it is.
That doesn't choose to keep the egg in a safe position, though, but it's still a very strong play.
Yeah. Grow +5/+5. Bam.
Yeah.
And that's game. Yeah, Panda can't
Pretty
hit everything.
I guess Tagon might be able to. No, even then, because the egg will still hatch, so then it will not carry the...
Yeah, if he had managed to kill the Lava Slasher on the other turn, then he could have spent the Phoenix Fire in the turn killing the Raptor and wouldn't be in this position. Oof.
Yeah, Fuzzymoth will have to make another attempt in game 2. I did actually try out the Reliquarian in Bystian.
Oh yeah? That one drains health, doesn't it?
Yeah, when you attack an enemy minion. So there was this old deck that ran Corona. So Corona would siphon all minions that cost 2 or less. So the only minions left in your deck would be Arcane Devourer and Reliquarian. So you would play Corolma, and then you would just late game go into that combo. It is quite terrible, and I lost maybe 4 games in 1-1, and then I was content. But this is an easy swing for the noobs here.
Easy cleanup at that point for the noobs. Congratulations for winning the first game. But do you want to bounce in the game 2? The noobs versus Fuzzymoth.
I am ready.
Alright, this might be our last game. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so the noobs is replacing Define Eternal Play, and Fuzzymoth is probably replacing Define a 3-drop. So now Fuzzymoth needs to be aware of the 4-mana Lava Slasher so that he doesn't put Scroll Band in range of that.
One possible play is the diagonal step up into Scroll Bandit on the top. That might be decent. Instead doing the more assertive play, just taking 2 steps forward.
So this gives the noobs some options. He can trade it off on board with a 3-drop. Or, which I think I would have preferred here to keep the oppressive Lava Slasher open.
Okay, just expend every mana tile immediately. And
this puts Fuzzymoth immediately on the back foot.
Yeah, it's so hard to play around that. Like, it would have to have been behind you.
Yeah, diagonally, top right.
Yeah. Even the top row suggestion wasn't safe.
And Spiral Counter in his hand is no good right now. Because
yeah, funny thing about Spiral Counter, it doesn't function on a Lava Slasher that just uses Opening Gambit. Because even though it says it fights a nearby minion, it doesn't attack it, it fights it. Those are different. So this spell doesn't trigger on it.
He does move forward and attack, heals back up. But this Healing Mystic is not going to be around for long. That Lava Slasher is going to eat it.
Yeah.
Or
which would finally put it in Spiral Counter range.
Yeah, then spiral counter would trigger.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. The damage has already really been done. And there are so many lava slashers.
If Lava Slasher would have been the old stat line, it would have been a 4-7 and 4-6 by now. It used to be a 4-9 before it was nerfed.
Plus 2 hit points on it. It's pretty nuts. Guess
Well,
they really wanted Magmar Golems to be good.
oh yeah, they really wanted to push it and then they overdid.
Sometimes I heard that a lot of the devs had like there were some Magmar champions in there, and I mean they came out with Story and Finality, which apparently was designed by someone or balanced by someone who immediately had some sort of life event and couldn't actually balance the card, so it came out kind of busted.
Oh yeah, it absolutely dominated the mana for the few weeks it was alive. 7. But Fuzzy Moth can't seem to catch a break here. Whenever he plays a minion, it gets instantly removed.
Yeah, really wanted this Bakazori to stick around a couple turns for being able to blink it and such, but is just under a constant onslaught. Tegan has finally showed up to give him a turn.
Yeah, I think you play Tagan here and you select up.
Yeah.
It will have to eat some damage from a cantrip. Selects to the right.
To the right.
It will allow the noobs to trade face.
Yeah, maybe he's fine with face trading.
Well, he wouldn't be because he's dead to combo next turn.
Yeah.
So Fuzzy Moth doesn't have an easy turn here. Going into Painter will not really solve his problems, but will give him some breathing room, at least from his perspective.
Yeah, that's better than clearing Macantor yourself, taking 4, and then trying to Painter the Lava Slasher.
I guess you can Painter space in, yeah.
Okay, yeah, Painter them both. That seems good. And then Gatatsu just for card draw. He finds his funny Duskrugger.
But sadly, the noobs is unfazed by that, as he has the combo.
Yeah, so here's the classic. What if you just had a 3-1 that attacked twice and you gave it a +2/+2? Ooh.
Would be pretty.
The Ragnar Classic. And with that, Danoobs knocks out Fuzzy Moth. 2-0. Yeah, those were the 4 games that we had today. So the bracket that we've got, it's going to be Copiate versus stoicrooster. The winner of that is going to be placing... Yeah, you had a pretty good look at Copiate's deck, so you'll be running into his Brome later. So beware of that 1 red Sinja and such. And yeah, for the winner of you versus Copiate will be facing Juiceboxy. So we saw that. Maybe she only brings out her maximum fighting power against her sworn rival, but it might be tough anyway.
The winner between me and Copiate will play Juiceboxy.
Yeah.
Does Juiceboxy have a bye next round?
Yeah, Juiceboxy and Werox were slotted really high because they were the top like 3 and 4 seeds, but they had a match against each other that they could just play. So they Juiceboxy's going to be waiting for a bit.
Oh, okay. So they play their round like in advance then. Before
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yep. And it'll be AWX Angel versus Poncho Mango, and Danoobs versus Kirikaka. And then for other games that I'll be casting tomorrow, we got Suzuli Shifter versus Rohinjo, Mushimango versus Leo Tidor, me versus Hellgin. That's a recommended match. And Overpowered versus Solzen, the original gangster. And there's a whole bunch of people that got a bye. So we have stuff like Left Hook, Agent Cypher. They'll be waiting around for their opponents. And that's all we had for today.
You weren't going to get 16 players for a round of 16, but here you had a
yeah.
16.
It was funny. We were We were like on our way to getting like the smallest turnout yet, and now we have our biggest turnout yet. Yeah, this is our first 5-stage tournament we've had. And then next tournament, well, we got some different rules and mix-ups in mind. Gonna be bringing back the banned list. I'll be asking for people's opinions on that to see what cards we can scrap to keep things nice and fresh. But for this tournament, everything goes. You're seeing all kinds of stuff. Not as many Mithrons as I would have expected, but I guess that's great.
Yeah, some people were displeased with the no ban list, but
Yeah.
I kind of get the idea. Like, there's not been a no ban tournament in some time, so I guess it's nice to kind of ringe it out and like do full
Yeah.
power that.
Yeah, I liked doing the no ban for this tournament specifically because we finally got every single card in from Classic Duelyst. They've just all been ported over, and plus we've got all our new stuff. So
Yeah, that's why so many people ended up playing Finality, because it's currently available.
yeah, Finality is a new card too, and it turns out it is one of the best cards in the faction. Maybe like #1, rank 1 spell. It's so good. You can play it even in stuff outside of Oth. But yeah, that is all we had for today. Thank you everybody for coming to watch some cool games, and once again, thank you Stoic for joining. Much appreciated.
Good one.
Alright, adios all of y'all. We will catch you later. Cheers.